He's looking for somebody to get on his program, to buy into what his vision is, to get on his goals. And that is how it hurts them. That's what you hear
That's
these
if
high
you got
power
a
women.
high power man. But what you're seeing more and more,
I think just the men in general,
is the reverse of that. You're finding these high value women, men who they're, leaning towards in the dating market because it's getting maybe harder and harder to find someone of their caliber who, to your point, is looking for this, who's maybe intimidated by her strength and her vigor.
They're not intimidated. Relationships have expectations. That's what people lose sight of. These things that you do have a cost attached to them.
Who's in the room tonight? Shh. We got a case.
Welcome to Love on Trial, where
excuses get cross-examined,
red flags get entered into evidence,
and toxic love gets a life sentence. Hi, I'm the Recoverist, and welcome to Love on Trial. And this is Real Talk with the Recoverist, and court is in session. So you see, today we have our all-male panel, right? We got our love litigator, Jay, and our guest love litigator, Byron.
What's up?
All right. So today we got a good topic, man. I want you to get your fingers ready. I need you in these here comments and give you your verdicts. But today we're talking about a touchy subject. I'm going to try to keep it together. But today we're talking about, do women have a dating market value? Right?
Yes.
And if so, what is that? What does that mean? And, how should we look at the idea of a dating market value for women?
All right. So initially, I have to agree. I would say yes. And
don't say agree, because I just asked a question. And
yeah, I would say that I agree. Yes, women do have a dating market value. A lot of things go into that, but a dating market value, all that means is your desirability of someone to date you. And if you're honest with yourself, everybody has one. And I think when it comes to framing yourself in the dating market value, I think a lot of the pushback comes from an idea of, oh, I don't want to be less than or belittled. But in other facets and aspects of life, you understand that there's a ranking system. Like there's different colleges, there's different top tier colleges. Harvard is not the same as your community college down the street. These Ivy Leagues, this sense of, different hierarchy and tiers, you may not be able to get into all these schools. That's based off a ranking system. People accepted in these different facets. Even in sports, it's divided, right? You have in high school, you have your freshman, you have JV, you have varsity. It's levels to things, and we accept them in other aspects of life. But for some reason, it's difficult to accept from a dating market because it gets very personalized. But it definitely exists.
Well, I think it gets personalized because it suggests that one woman is better than another woman based off of some criteria.
They may be, though, to date.
But I think to date.
For relationship is what I'm saying.
For relationship?
Yes.
So you're saying that one woman is intrinsically better than another woman?
For a romantic relationship, not better as a person. Right. So you have to separate. I'm not saying that you're less value as a person. A lot of people take that. It's not that you're less value as a person, but from a dating perspective, there's absolutely a tier and a ranking system. Now that system's going to be different for different people, but it does exist.
All right. I'm going to stop there because we're going to get into this. And as the Recoverist, your relationship coach, I'm going to keep it together and not take anything personal, but I definitely want to make sure that we present all sides. And so, Byron, let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on the idea of a dating market value for women?
I mean, there definitely is a dating market value for women. You can see it all the time with guys, especially like older guys with money. That'll tell you where the market value is at. What they go for is usually where it's at. So you see an old 55-year-old man with a lot of money. He's probably with like a 25-year-old, somebody within birth-bearing age.
Yeah.
I think that's probably something just in the male species that they look for.
I think that's true.
When looking, that they can produce a child if they want it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's anything our fault. I think that's just nature. That's just how nature works. So there's a market value. Not saying that older women are less valued. Some guys might think an older woman is perfect. She won't get pregnant. I could go and
Right.
shoot up her club and ain't got to worry about nothing. So it's a different stroke for different folks. But but for the most part,
Yeah.
there's definitely a value system in there.
Okay, so here's where
100%.
here's where I need some further commentary, because what I heard you say was that a woman's dating market value is based off of what a 50-plus-year-old man would date. And so that's
That's
what
an example he gave. I don't think it's
okay.
fair
That's
to
just one
Okay, so
example.
paint.
whatever he
That's just
dates,
one
that's
example.
top tier.
That's not what was stated. That's just
No,
an example.
that's just one
It's just
example.
one
I'm
example.
just telling you like what men in that situation what they're probably averagely gonna go for is something around there. Not saying that's probably the norm, but there's
Mhm.
upper levels and lower levels to everywhere around there.
All
Right.
right. So I'm going to be devil's advocate. Women, don't be afraid. Stay with me. Get in these comments. Put your verdicts in. But let's dig into this idea a little bit deeper. And understand what you think drives this dating market. So if a woman say in your scenario, the guy who's 50, 60
No,
years
I don't even think we
old,
need to take because you're trying to. We need to get away from that. That was just one
but
example.
that was what
But
he
one
gave.
one thing that brings their value down or that contributes to it is children. All right.
That's what I was going to ask. So if a woman has children, that them childbearing years that we
Mhm.
talked about,
Mhm. So children impact a woman's dating market value. So if the more children that a woman has, this is just in general, and this is just the truth, the more children a woman has, the lower her dating market value.
why?
Because children bring
Because I thought you
I'm about to
said
explain it to you.
okay.
So because children are baggage. Now, children, let me say it again. Children are baggage. There's this thing out here that all children are blessings. It's not true. That's not true. There's this lie that's perpetuated on social media. Oh, every child's a blessing. It's not true at all. That's not nowhere.
Right.
That's not nowhere even in the Bible. That's not true. People just say this stuff to make themselves feel better about bad decisions. But children bring
It is in the
baggage.
Bible that children are.
Children
So let's be
are
clear on that.
baggage. Look it up and look up the context. Children, and y'all not living by the Bible if you got them anyway. So children are baggage, right? So that's going to lower every child that she has is going to be it's different for men and for women because for the man is he's what you gonna do for my kids? He's gonna have to pay for it. It's not his. Men do not just in general want to come take care of little kids that are not theirs. It's just nobody wants
But
to
what
do
about
that.
the guys who don't mind it?
There's not so you're talking about exceptions. There's exceptions to everything, but in general, that's why it's going to the more children you have, the lower it's going to go because that's more headaches, that's more issues, that's more attention taken away from the man,
More
that's
money.
more money, that's more money. These are more problems, and then you have to take into the fact the more children you have, the worse it is, and then the more babies' fathers you have to do because these are men that are going to be tied to the woman forever. All right, or at least as long as the child's alive that he's going to have to deal with. So now he can't even deal with just you, the woman. He has to deal with however many other men come along with you in the version of your baby fathers. This is all problematic for a man. Men would rather not have to deal with that. So you have a higher value if he doesn't have to deal with any of it.
All right, so okay, so that's fair because that's an opinion, right? And that is a perspective, and that is a point of view, and it could be very true that, man, I'm sure you're not the only guy to feel this way or to have this perception.
I'll say
But
most men feel that way.
I don't know that to be true.
If you take a
That's what
woman,
about most men.
if you take two of the identical women, they're the same level of beauty, the same height, the same education, the same job. And you have one and she has a kid and one has no kid. Most men would choose the one that has no kid, all things being equal, because then they can start their own and go about their business that way. Most men.
Okay, just assume that that's true. Okay, and just assume that that's the case. Is it the same for women?
What do you mean?
If a guy has more children and more, if he's got
No, it's different because of what men. I'm about to tell you. I'm about to explain to you. It's different because of what men and women seek from each other in relationships. It's a double standard, and it is a double standard. Dating market is full of double standards. This is a double standard because again, women are looking for a man to protect and provide generally. So if you're a man of a certain level of success, it doesn't matter what the pick. You can insert rapper name, entertainer name, athlete name here. They know he got a bunch of kids. But if he has a bunch of money, women don't care about that. They, in my opinion, they should. They do not. It's not going to stop any woman from wanting to be with him because he has the lifestyle or the money that they want. Where it's reversed for men, women will still want to be in serious relationship with a man who has multiple kids because they don't care about that. They care about what he can provide. So if he can provide enough, they'll go along with it. It's not the same thing for men.
And that's not necessarily true either. But
that's a fact.
I mean, I'm not saying that scenario doesn't exist because it does. I mean, we see it play out, right? Like
that's a fact.
A Nick Cannon or somebody like that. Those women, all of them know about the previous.
I ain't gonna say no names. It don't because it's not even about the they do not care. Women do not care because of what they want. People are trying to make it seem like men and women are the same. We're not the same. We look for different things out of the dating market. So a man, if he's in a certain level having children, it's not a point against him because the majority of women will still be okay with that.
Okay. All right. We'll stick a pin in that and we'll yield there.
Wait, do you agree with that, Byron?
I would definitely agree 100% with everything that you said.
No.
I mean,
the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, he's pretty much speaking for me on that one.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna debate it. I don't see a debate there because there's enough evidence on both ways that can go. Because women, it guy doesn't even have to have all that money. I've seen guys who have.
That's true too.
They got kids everywhere and getting out of jail.
That's true too.
Both kids and the woman, it's
not a deterrent to women.
So then that's another. I'm gonna talk about that kind of stuff when I get with the women. So we're gonna move on.
Okay.
To finances then. So does a woman's financial status or status in the community, even celebrity status, those kinds of things, do finance or status make her higher or lower
on the dating market?
Like even to the
okay, I can speak to that.
Say she's she's well established, she's got a lot of money, but she's got a bunch of kids, but she's financially whatever. But does finance or status play into what her dating value, market value might?
I would say for a lot of women, the more successful they are, it's going to hurt their dating status. It's going to hurt them in this sense because generally, if you are, you have a successful business or you're a high level something, let's say you're a high level lawyer and she makes like $250,000 a year. She's very successful. She's very prominent. That's great. She's educated. That's awesome. But what it takes, it takes something to be, you don't just get to be that. It calls for something. It calls for her time. It calls for her attention, and it calls for her commitment. If she's putting all that time, attention, and commitment into this other thing, that's for her. That's great individually, but then you have to does a man want that from a woman? That's why you see the stories where men are like, I'll just take if she's cute and she's in the McDonald's drive-thru, I'll take her over the high power lawyer, because what men want from her, they're going to be able to get more from a woman that does not have those things. Now, it's not saying that you can't be high powered and successful and still be, submissive and do all, but it's less likely because
we're not gonna go to
get to that level calls for something. And the type of energy and the type of person you have to be to make it to that level, you've already put so many things on the altar. Your priorities are probably not going to be a man.
But what if the man is on that tier? He's a go-getter. He's high
The
value,
reason men don't like that is because men do not look to women to provide for them the same things. Again, we want different things out of each other. So a man that's like that at high power, he's going to want a woman that can be whatever he wants her to be. Not she got all this other stuff, but no, I want you to do what I want you to do. You need to be on my program. A woman like that, she probably has her own program. And more power to her, but that's going to work against her in the dating market, because a man who's high power like that, he's probably not looking, and not even a man who's high power, just a manager, he's probably not looking to get on your program. He's looking for somebody to get on his program, to buy into what his vision is, to get on his goals. And that is how it hurts him. That's what you hear
That's
these
if
high
you got
power
a high
women.
power man. But what you're seeing more and more
I think just the men in general.
is the reverse of that. You're finding these high value women, the men who they're, leaning towards in the dating market because it's getting maybe harder and harder to find someone of their caliber who, to your point, is looking for this who's maybe intimidated by her strength and her vigor.
They're not intimidated. Relationships have expectations. That's what people lose sight of. These things that you do have a cost attached to them. And people don't like to accept that, but that's the reality of life. There's a cost associated with what you're doing. So if you're a man and you sacrifice and you put in the time and you become a high power lawyer, you're making $250,000 a year, you're going to be working a lot, you're going to be spending a lot of time. You probably want a woman to be home to take care of your children, to hold down that front, because you're putting so much on the altar to make it to that level. A man's not looking on that level, is not going to be looking for a woman most of the time on that level, because they both are doing it can't be, you can't have two captains of the ship. And that's where they're going to run into these. It's not that they're intimidated. It's not that they're blah, blah, blah. It's these other things that come along with it that women don't want to acknowledge. It doesn't, just because you're successful financially, it doesn't mean I care about that.
Okay,
You still need to be.
Is not Barack and Michelle Obama. So he is a male, high powered, high value, who does also
This high value thing is also
put his
something
wife
else.
up there. So we just gonna keep moving. But Byron, what are your thoughts on that topic? Do you think a woman's financial status, or does it hurt or help her dating market value, in your opinion?
For the most part, it could probably hurt her because men are gonna look like she already making money. The way most women are, they're independent, like they don't need a man for anything.
Right.
So only thing that she's probably gonna want for you is to lay it down to her good and then get on when she needs. That's really about it. You're just gonna be used like as a piece of meat. Which for some folks is, maybe that's all they want. So that's like the perfect thing. They hit the lottery. Other folks, they might want that attention. And if she's making a lot of money, you're not gonna get that attention, more than likely.
Yeah.
Because a lot of women, if they making a lot of money, women always going back to school, trying to do another career, got like 7 different hustles going on. Because they feel in this world, that's how you got to do it.
Right.
And they're not going to give you that attention if they're making that money. So to some guys, it might be intimidating. Some guys, like I said, might like it. They might be submissive. I'm like, okay, well, let me just lay back and, then maybe I just got to eat. But,
Okay.
But then they take issue with those type of men because they're upset. Right. So they don't respect, because everything, again, is the polarity in relationships.
Yeah. And what I run into that a lot in working with a lot of women who my female clients who do make a lot of money do run into these issues. Right? So
Because as women improve, they raise their
I
standards.
agree with y'all, because I think some of this stuff you're saying is misogynistic in some ways.
It's not misogynistic, but it's the truth. When women improve, they raise their standards to be above wherever they're at. When men improve, the things that men want are not money or status related, so their standards remain the same. So a man that makes $250,000 doesn't now say my woman has to make $250,000 or better for me. But a woman she'll say, okay, I'll make $250,000. The man I'm with needs to make $250,000 or better. So she's already X'd out so many men based off the more successful that she has, because she's choosing on a financial standard that men don't have. So she's already shrinking her pool the more successful she becomes. And again, men and women want different things out of relationships.
We'll definitely cover those thoughts with the women in
It's unfortunate.
the women's summit that we're going to have, and we'll definitely look at that and what women find
You know how do you fix that though?
important in their dating market value for the men. So,
You know a simple way to fix it though?
oh God, how?
They you get married, you make all the money, you give all the money to the man.
What?
Exactly. That's another episode.
What?
That's another episode.
Okay.
For me to be able to deep dive into that.
Okay.
Maybe that's a deep dive episode. That's a deep dive.
Yeah, that's too deep for me. So, like, really, are you suggesting that the woman make all the money and then give it to the man for him to
You want me to
disperse?
walk this down right now? You want me to walk this? I will explain it, but do you want me to explain this right now?
Can you keep it high level without getting?
Okay, I'll try to keep it high level.
Oh God.
If you think of a relationship, all right. Now, again, this goes back to system and structure. All right. I'm looking at it from the standpoint. Let me keep it high level for you. Let's look at the aspect of children. First off, for this to work, you have to believe in roles. So if you don't believe in roles in a relationship or whatever, then it's not going to apply to you. But if you believe in roles, money does not change your role, right? If you believe money doesn't make you more of your role or less of your role, because your role is what your role is, because there's order and structure, right? Parents, there are some children who earn a lot of money on either child actors or YouTubers or whatever. They're making millions of dollars. They're out earning their parents. They don't supersede their parents because of the amount of money they make. That doesn't change that role, right? The parent is still the parent. The child's still the child. The amount of money don't influence that. So the same thing for the relationship. You can still
a woman to the child.
You gotta let me walk it down. You gotta let me walk it down. So the same thing for these relationships. If the role of the man is to be the leader of your relationship, now if it's not, then again, if y'all just doing whatever, then it is whatever. But if the role of your relationship is for the man to be the leader, right, and the woman's up under the covering of the man, right? If she makes that money and she gives it to the household and lets the man still, follow the vision that he has or whatever and supports it or whatever, now it's no longer about, well, I make this, you make that, because it's all together. But what women do when they date, they look at it as, I'm bringing this, so you have to be bringing at least this or more or whatever. The solution to that is to humble themselves and submit themselves to a role where they look at everything that's being gained as to going into one pot. And that way the man you can have a lawyer who's making $250,000.
That's different. If you're saying, okay, I'm gonna give half, you give half, we putting it in.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's different.
That's not what I'm saying.
It sounds like I hear you say, here's my whole, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Here's no.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Okay.
If that's your husband.
I mean, so why can't he do that to her?
Because that's not the order thing. Because that's not the. Well, let me say this. No. Let me say this. Let me be clear. That can be the case if that's y'all's dynamic. Where I'm coming from is from system and structure. So if you're not beholden to anything, then you're whatever.
Coming soon, system and structure.
If you're not beholden to anything, then it don't matter what you're doing, because you're just doing whatever. You're not beholden to anything. What I'm talking about is a structure where it's man, woman, children, pets. That's the structure that I'm coming from. So it don't matter what's going on. The man's still going to be the headship and still captaining the ship and steering it and being over everything, because he's the leader of that family. If you don't believe in that dynamic, then nothing makes sense. You do whatever you want to do. But what I'm talking about is a specific system and structure where the man is the headship. Okay. And it's not ruled from this, all men are bad and trying to do something negative towards me that a lot of, social media is trying to push right now. That's not the case.
All right. Byron, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, to what Jay just said about handing up over all the money.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about that?
If a man can die for you, I don't see why you can't let him steward the finance, but whatever.
I mean,
what if the woman has a better financial acumen?
I mean, there could be scenarios where it's like that. I want to say probably for the most part, most men, I don't know if it's most men, because 2026, everybody a little bit crazy, but it seems like most men would be more fiscally sound with getting the things that need to be bought and things like that. But I mean, a lot of cases, women make more money than men, and I don't see them handing over their money to somebody that doesn't make more money than them to handle all the responsibilities. So it's kind of hard for me to grasp that concept. But I mean, stuff like that's been going on all the time. It's almost sounds like pimping, like a pimp.
It's not
like
pimping.
taking down his hoe, to get all the money, and then he decides where.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, because they're social media, not social media, TV and old TV movies have always pushed the narrative. Oh, the man he make the money and he bring it all to give his whole check to his wife and she do whatever. But when I say it in the reverse, now all of a sudden it's pimping and it's blah 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 blah. But nobody has an issue, and this is why I said it's things are out of order. No, hold on. It's not. Hold on. This is different because all the move where the woman bring me the check and blah blah. Nobody has an issue with that. It's the same thing. I'm just saying it in the reverse, and now it's problematic.
It's the power.
That is what's wrong with the mindset. No. It's the same thing. And but again, when women push back against this, nobody had a problem with that. It's the same thing, but they try to villainize it. It is because they try to villainize it on this side.
No,
and instead of the woman being in charge of finance, the man is. Now it's a bad thing. I don't buy into that. I don't believe in that.
No, it's a power
I disagree
thing because when a man brings his check and hands it over to his wife and says, here's the money, take care of the bills.
That's the same thing.
That's an assignation of a household responsibility. When a woman has to hand over her money to a man,
that's the same thing. He's gonna take care of the bills.
It's
the same thing. He's gonna take care of
the same thing.
More fiscally responsible, yeah. But if that's a decision that she came to, or they both came to together,
it's the same thing.
If it's not based on who's
you're trying to add extra stuff into it because you didn't put all that stuff in when you said if the man give it to the woman, it's cool, and then you said if the woman give it to the man, now it's all this extra context. It wasn't that context before. It's the same thing.
Wouldn't have the money unless the man gave it to her. That's why it's not.
The man won't have the money unless the woman gives it to her. You saying the same thing?
Well, I hope in your scenario,
you saying the same thing.
Money and then expect you to give him your money. So
it's the same. It's the same thing.
All of the finances of the house and making all of the decisions. That's not the same thing as the.
It is the same thing.
He is delegating a responsibility.
And there's nothing wrong with a woman delegating the same thing to a man. There's nothing wrong with it. There's relationships now where the woman works and the man works, and the man gives his money to the woman, and then and they do what, and nobody has a problem with that. It's only men are villainized, and this is why women are taught to be afraid of relationships and afraid of order. That's why they're running from it and stuff because. If a man's, it must be some kind of nefarious or dark or evil reason to it. But if it's on the woman thing, well, then it's perfectly fine. Nobody. But it's sad because this villainization of men and this position that system and structure and order or whatever, if a man's over it, it has to have some type of nefarious or evil thing. If he's over it, you're gonna be abused in some way or whatever. It's really sad. It's unfortunate. It's all bad. It's all bad.
You're right. I agree.
It's unfortunate.
It's sad and unfortunate when you have a system and a structure that has no flexibility, has it and its definition takes no consideration of anybody's value or acumen or ability or skill, that because
nobody said that
male, just by virtue of
nobody said that.
Born with physiology.
You're making a lot of arguments that nobody ever made.
By virtue of that alone, you get to have.
You're arguing a lot of things that were never said.
Designation over a relationship without taking into account what the woman may bring. It has to be a decision about what
you're taking
for the relationship.
What I said and worst case scenarioing it. Number one. Number two, I don't tell people what system and structure to be beholden to. Let's get that clear. Okay. I'm not telling you what system and I'm saying most people in these relationships, they not beholden to any system or structure that they're obedient to. So they just doing whatever and they're hoping that they get the result that they want. So if it strikes a nerve with you that I said a system and structure where it goes man, women, children, pets, and there's order, if that system and structure doesn't work for you, fine. But find another system and structure that does work for you and be beholden to it. See, no matter what system and structure is, no matter what system and structure you're up under, it's going to have rules in it because that's what system and structure is. Okay. So find one that works for you. But I'm telling you, you're likely not going to be able to find what you want if you don't do things a certain. All right, we're gonna leave that right there.
I've heard enough. I would have ended there because that's where we agree. As a relationship coach, the things that I share with my clients who come as a couple, because I do couples, not just one-on-one, but I do couples on a probably more than anything, but um, you have to come to an agreement because that's what relationship is. It's one word, it's agreement. And it's how we negotiate how we are going to connect and interact within the framework of our relationship. And I think that it can all be different. There's no one way to do it. Now we talked about the dating, whether or not there's market value. You can, make one argument one way or the other. But I think the most important thing is to show up as your best self to the marketplace and look for the person who best fits your needs, who you are, and where you are in your life right now. Negotiate how you can both bring value to each other and live your best life. I want to leave it there. So, till next time. Bye. He's dismissed.
Be sure to hit the like, comment, share, and subscribe button and leave your verdict in the comments below. We want to hear from you. And make sure you follow us online on Instagram at Love on Trial ATL for special behind the scenes footage and special updates.
Do you need to put your love on trial? If you want to be a guest couple on the show or share your story, please send us an email at loveontrialcasting@gmail.com. Until next time, keep asking the hard questions, keep growing, and remember, every great relationship deserves a fair trial. See you next week.